I was hoping for Kansas City. I was hoping for Buffalo. I was hoping for a good team, okay? But nonetheless, you have DeAndre Hopkins going over to the Tennessee Titans. This has massive impacts for this upcoming season, not only for DeAndre Hopkins, but also for everybody in Tennessee. Now, before we get into a fantasy football draft and showing the updated values of these guys, before we talk about what kind of adjustments that we need to be making, first, make sure you're dropping a like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football, and also, we need to run over to Underdog real quick. Y'all know Underdog has the special Patrick Mahomes line up more than less than half a passing yard until July 22nd. And we've been looking at what to pair this with. I found what we should be pairing this with now, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take the fewer than 825.5 receiving yards with Treylon Burks. We are going to pair that with the free Patrick Mahomes line that Underdog is giving us. Please make sure you're taking advantage of this ASAP. We are going to bet the max on that, $20. So we are going to have 20 for fewer than Burks, 825.5 receiving yards this next season. And then also for Mahomes having at least half a passing yard. That's probably going to happen. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about that pick'em entry. Of course, real quick, if you want to have access to any of those pick'ems, if you want to get a fantasy football draft with us, y'all can go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK with the link in the live chat description comment section. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings at a free trial to flockfantasy.com with promo code FLOCK. And also do it very soon. That way you're able to take advantage of this Patrick Mahomes line. But I think that should be it in terms of the player props we need to be looking at. Now let's go ahead and let's dive into the realistic expectation that we should have this next year with the Tennessee Titans, DeAndre Hopkins, as well as the guys that he is not affecting. Y'all know we were kind of fading Kadarius Toney. I was saying, oh yeah, we probably don't want to be taking Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers with the assumption that Hopkins may be going over there. Maybe he's going over to Carolina. Well, him not going there actually makes the difference as well. So let's go look at where these guys are going in fantasy football drafts real quick. This is Underdog ADP. This is where we're drafting every single day on the live stream. Let's go down to first, DeAndre Hopkins, the man who signs himself. DeAndre Hopkins was going as the wide receiver 25 in these Underdog drafts. I would say that going over to the Tennessee Titans is a similar situation to what we've seen with DeAndre Hopkins in years past, where you're on a bad team, but there's not a lot of target competition, and you're most likely going to be able to hit a 25-26% team target share, right? That's what we've historically seen from Hopkins. The man can go out there and average 10 targets a game like it's nothing and just demand volume. Now, at the same time, we don't exactly know how much passing volume there will be in Tennessee. Not only do you have subpar quarterback play with Ryan Tannehill / Will Levis. Quick side note, I actually interviewed Will Levis on the NFL red carpet at the draft this year. I am really rooting for Levis. If this means Levis has a better shot, I'm all about it. But right now it doesn't look great. But nonetheless, Hopkins should be a target hog in a bad passing offense, even if Tennessee should be decent with their rushing attack. Now, where that puts DeAndre Hopkins in these rankings, I would say if we're going to compare him to Mike Williams, I probably prefer DeAndre Hopkins over Mike Williams. I probably prefer DeAndre Hopkins over Terry McLaurin, over Drake London. I would say Hopkins is most likely going to move up to being in that wide receiver 19 to 21 range for me. I think that he is going to be going next to Jerry Jeudy, Christian Watson, given the insane target share we should expect this next year. Now, what I also want to be looking at will be the other guy in drafts currently in Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is going as the running back 8 currently in these Underdog drafts. Derrick Henry is going at the very end of the second round, pick 23.8, directly behind Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Tony Pollard. We actually asked y'all earlier in a live stream this week where you thought Derrick Henry would move in fantasy football rankings if DeAndre Hopkins were to sign in Tennessee. And overwhelmingly, people told us they thought Derrick Henry would rise in rankings. It's understandable, right? Because with Derrick Henry, you have some concerns. You have the age concern. The man's now pushing 30. You don't want to see that with running backs. And also, you had the major concern of the Tennessee Titans just being a piss-poor offense that was unable to pick up first downs and unable to push the ball downfield. where now that looks like you're not as concerned, still not like the Tennessee Titans are going to be a top 10 offense by any means, but DeAndre Hopkins should 100% help the Titans. And now instead of rolling out Treylon Burks and God knows who else at wide receiver 2, you actually have a real option there with Hopkins, the wide receiver 1, Burks, the wide receiver 2. So I think Derrick Henry is most likely going to be moving up these rankings. I think you see Derrick Henry now going ahead of Tony Pollard, ahead of Devonta Smith, ahead of T. Higgins. But let me ask y'all in the live chat real quick, because obviously y'all are the people drafting these teams. Y'all are the people that are affecting this fantasy football ADP. Who would you rather have now that DeAndre Hopkins is in Tennessee? Would you rather have Tony Pollard or Derrick Henry? Please, can everybody spam the chat? We have almost 600 people here. Would you rather have Tony Pollard or Derrick Henry in fantasy football drafts? Jeff says, thank God he didn't go to KC. I would have loved KC. I would have loved it. Okay, so we have Nick, Pollard, Henry, Henry, Henry. Okay, it looks like most people are still going Tony Pollard over Derrick Henry. You have some Derrick Henrys here, but it looks like overwhelmingly people are still taking Tony Pollard. So maybe I was wrong with the assumption that you may see Derrick Henry jump Pollard in these drafts. I think that they're going to be neck and neck. I've drafted more Derrick Henry than I have Tony Pollard this next year. I would be a little bit worried about the Dallas Cowboys still deciding to bring back Ezekiel Elliott. The Dallas Cowboys deciding to go out there and bring in like a split backfield with like Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette. But that's just me. That's just me. I honestly probably go Derrick Henry in a half PPR format, Derrick Henry to non-PPR format, switch to Pollard if you're talking full PPR. But regardless, I like the Derrick Henry value here. The other thing that we have to look at is the one other Tennessee Titan that's being drafted is going to be Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks going at pick 68, 69, and he was going right in a range of Michael Pittman, Mike Evans, and we've been taking Pittman over Burks. We've been taking Mike Evans over Treylon Burks. I don't have a lot of Treylon Burks, so honestly, this signing doesn't really impact me too much. But nonetheless, the real question is, who would you rather have between Burks and Dameon Pierce? Easily, it should be Dameon Pierce. I mean, it was Dameon Pierce for me before the signing, definitely Dameon Pierce now. I would way rather have Kyle Pitts over Treylon Burks. I'd rather have Dallas Goedert over Burks. I'd rather have Addison over Burks. Give me Dotson over Burks. Honestly, this is where the question is. You have George Pickens down here, wide receiver 41, in comparison to Treylon Burks, wide receiver 35. Who would you rather have in drafts now? Please, everybody spam the chat. We have about 600 people here. And also, if you have not done so already, go down there and drop a like on the live stream. Would you rather have Treylon Burks or George Pickens? Please spam the chat. Please spam the chat. Okay. Burks, Pickens, Burks, Pickens, 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 Pickens. Okay, it looks like most people are taking George Pickens here. And Bush Sports flexing on us that he only has one draft with Treylon Burks out of 250 drafts on Underdog. Well, congrats, my man. Congrats for printing money. So it looks like most people are dropping Treylon Burks all the way down past George Pickens. And I think we can assume that Burks is now in the tier of Quentin Johnston, Brandon Cooks, Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman. And to be honest with you, in these Underdog drafts, I would rather have the running backs here. I'd rather have Swift. I'd rather have Montgomery. I'd rather have Rashad White anyway. So Burks, in my mind, is pretty much undraftable unless he begins to fall down to like Zay Flowers, Michael Thomas here. Because I'd still rather have Javonte Williams over Treylon Burks now that this happens. So I think you're going to see a fall from Treylon Burks of about 20 picks in ADP. And if he doesn't fall 20-ish picks in ADP, I'm probably not drafting him. Now, I also went ahead and took advantage of this for everybody just now coming out. The player prop on Burks right now on Underdog is 825.5 receiving yards. I'm going through and I'm smashing the fewer than after this signing. Like if you're going to compare this to some other wide receivers on Underdog, you have Deebo Samuel at 825. You have Calvin Ridley at 855. You have DJ Moore at 875. You have Pickens at 775. You have Dotson at 800. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the fewer than 825.5 receiving yards on Burks. But what I want to do now is I want to go hop in an Underdog draft real quick to see where these guys are actually being drafted. So yeah, we're going to get in a puppy draft on Underdog. Just in case y'all don't know, yes, the same spot that you have those player props. Yes, the same spot that you have the free Patrick Mahomes bet right now. This is a best ball tournament, so there's no time commitment at all during the year. It's a $5 buy-in, $500,000 prize pool. Nick, who's actually out here in this live chat, a member of the flock, won first place in this tournament last year on Underdog for $75,000. You love to see it. Hopefully we can win it this year, but let's see where these guys are going. Let's see where Derrick Henry gets drafted. Let's see where DeAndre Hopkins gets drafted. Let's see where Burks goes. And let's see where the tight end goes in Tennessee as well. What are we doing? We're going to be picking here at 8. Y'all know, because I ran into our guy, Bijan Robinson, yet again, interviewed him at the NFL draft, saw him at the gym a couple days ago. I will be drafting our guy, Bijan Robinson, if he makes it to us here at 8. But yeah, let's get this going. And of course, if y'all want to get into an Underdog draft with us, we're doing this literally every single day in the live stream. Not going to miss a single day until 2024. Or if you want to go take advantage of any of those player props, if you want to take advantage of that free Patrick Mahomes line, you better do that ASAP. Underdog's available in these states. You can find the link in the comment section, the description, or the live chat. If you use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You will also get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com. It's best ball, so no time commitment at all during the year. So I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 on Underdog last year. So let's get this draft going. Mile high on the clock at pick 1. I'm assuming we're going to see Jefferson go. Falany in here with us in this draft at 6. Grant in this draft with us at 7. Mile high in here at 1. Love to see it. Ronan says only 4% of Treylon Burks on Underdog. Let me pull up Underdog on my phone real quick. See how much I have him. Wreck in this draft with us at 4. Happy to see you, my man. So let me see how much Treylon Burks I have. I think I have more than 4%. My guess with my Burks exposure, I'm going to guess 6%. How that? I have 11% Treylon Burks. Here are my Titans exposures. I have 12% Derrick Henry, 11% Burks, 7% the second-year tight ends. Oh my gosh, brutal. How much Hopkins do I have? I have 10% Hopkins. I thought I didn't have a lot of Burks. What the hell? What the hell? Okay. Yeah. Oof is a good way to put it. That is not good. Everybody coming out flexing on us that they have 0 Treylon Burks. Congrats. Congrats, my guys. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We are going to take our guy, Bijan Robinson. I think you can make an argument for a couple different players, but I've already committed to having fun in fantasy football. There's nobody I want to root more for this year than Bijan Robinson. So let's go ahead and anything that's fewer than like a $250 buy-in for us. If we get the ability to take Bijan Robinson after pick 6, I'm going to take Bijan Robinson this year. Brian says, watch the Titans also sign Dalvin. Ooh, would be brutal. Now, one other thing that you have to monitor in these drafts is you remember that you've had a lot of the Carolina Panthers falling. You've had a lot of the New England Patriots falling, given the worry that people had that you may end up getting Hopkins over to either Carolina or not to Carolina, but to New England. Now I think you have to assume that you get a bump up for the Carolina guys as well as the New England guys. I think you get a bump up for some of the Kansas City options as well, such as Sky Moore, Rashee Rice. Stephon Diggs looks like a much safer pick in the middle of round 1 than he was previously. So it is nice that we have this clarity and we don't have to worry about these other guys. But yeah, no, the tight end in Tennessee, Chig, definitely going down. If we have to look at his ADP with where we should expect him to go now, real quick side note, Derrick Henry now going pick 19, going ahead of Tony Pollard in this draft. Henry going ahead of Pollard, going ahead of Olave. Not saying I don't like it, but if we're looking at Chig in this draft, he has an ADP of 126. Let's see where we can expect him to go now in comparison to some of these other tight ends. I mean, in my mind, this is someone that has to fall behind Greg Dulcich. He has to fall behind Kincaid. He has to fall behind Dalton Schultz. maybe even falls behind Tyler Higbee. So I think he falls about 2 rounds because we've seen time and time again, Hopkins be able to go out there and average 10 targets per game. We've seen Hopkins be able to go out there and average a 25% team target share. So, yeah. CDS says, bro, as a Pats fan, I am so sad right now. Well, I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry. Obviously, Patriots fans really wanted him for the right reason. But I'm just interested to see. Okay, so generally, Hopkins in these drafts was going at the 4-5 turn. Now, I don't know if we're going to finish this entire draft. I'm probably just going to get a sense of where all these Tennessee Titans players are now going. And we're going to be live streaming again later today at 4:30. Y'all know we're doing these underdog drafts every single day. We're still going to do the live stream that we have scheduled later in the day. But I want to get some initial content out to give y'all an idea of my thoughts and where I expect these guys to be going in drafts now. Oh, yeah. ER7 says Stevenson to the moon. We'll see where Dalvin signs. We'll see where Hunt signs. We'll see where Ezekiel Elliott signs. If Stevenson dodges all veteran running back signings, I think Stevenson has to jump ahead of someone like Devonta Smith. But Christian Watson going there at pick 22. So King Gino getting a unique start of Kupp, Christian Watson, Deebo Samuel in the first 3 rounds. Very, very rarely are you going to see that. Okay. G-Put goes Jacobs. We're going to take Andrews, sending up a prayer that somehow we get Lamar Jackson on the way back around to stack with Mark Andrews. Not a guarantee, not necessarily likely, but we'll see. Nick says insane Pollard value. Pretty strong Pollard value. I don't know if y'all had a chance to see the $1,000 draft we did on Underdog a couple days ago, but in that $1,000 Underdog draft, I actually went Christian McCaffrey at pick 5, Jonathan Taylor at pick 20, and then I got Tony Pollard making it all the way down to us at 29. So we had some insane Pollard value at 29 in another draft. Obviously, it was very scary going 3 running backs out the gate, but honestly, I kind of liked how that draft went. Okay. Now, Amari goes, we are 4 picks away from getting our Lamar Jackson stack with Mark Andrews. See if it happens. Judy off the board, 37. Okay. Jackson says, I have a draft on the big board from a few months ago with Ryan Tannehill and DeAndre Hopkins. Interesting. If you're one of the only people with those stacks in an underdog tournament, I mean, that is exciting. And I'll say in general, this is just an overall strategy. It's not going to work for all your fantasy football leagues, right? This is very underdog specific. But Lamar goes pick 38. Not the best for us, right? It is what it is. But let me talk about this strategy after we get whoever falls to us here. MJF goes Gibbs. I'm going to go ahead and take Travis Etienne. I mean, we need wide receiver more than we need running back, but I'm an idiot and I see Travis Etienne here in the 4th round and it's hard for me to pass on him. So in general, right? Like if you're going ahead and looking at these tournaments on Underdog, like Best Ball Mania, the $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool, where there have already been 257,000 entrants drafted. Out of these 257,000 entrants, there'll be a lot of people that have already stacked up, say, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, or Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, or even a little bit further down the list, say Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, or say Justin Herbert, Mike Williams. There are going to be a lot of those stack combos. So even if those guys turn out to be a league winner, you're going to be going up against a lot of those other same teams in this massive large field tournament if you're trying to win $3 million and get first place, right? But in these tournaments that have already had a bunch of teams get drafted, and there's a unique stack such as DeAndre Hopkins, Ryan Tannehill that not a lot of people have been taking, there's an added on bonus with the value that you're going to get of said stack, in that the rest of the field is going to be underweight that stack. You're going to be going up against fewer Ryan Tannehill, DeAndre Hopkins teams. So the same thing with the puppy tournament that we are in now, where it's 100,000 entrants, $5 buy-in, $500,000 prize pool, 58,000 current entrants. There'll be fewer combinations of DeAndre Hopkins, Ryan Tannehill in said drafts. So it's interesting to keep track of. It's definitely something that I would monitor, and you possibly want to go ahead and push up that stack if you're going to be able to get it out of value. Now, let's go ahead and let's pull up what's happened since we logged off. Okay, so Hopkins goes directly after us at pick 42. Okay, I'm going to ask y'all in the live chat real quick. Everybody, please spam the chat. Who would you rather have in drafts this next year? Would you rather have DeAndre Hopkins or Drake London? DeAndre Hopkins or Drake London? Please let me know. Please let me know. Okay. Hopkins, 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 Hopkins. Hopkins, London, Hopkins, London, London, Hopkins, London, Hopkins, Hopkins, Hopkins. It looks like most people are saying DeAndre Hopkins here. Looks like most people are saying DeAndre Hopkins. So where's the line? Would y'all rather have DeAndre Hopkins or Travis Etienne? Do you think I should have taken DeAndre Hopkins instead of Travis Etienne there? And please let me know. We got 1,000 people out in here in this live chat. Okay, so let's swing this back around. Okay, Kurt goes. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Ayuk. Not too much to discuss. We just need a wide receiver. We need a wide receiver. Ayuk falls a little bit past ADP, so let's go ahead and grab him. We can grab Lance later on, of course. Okay, so let's see. Okay, it looks like most people are saying Travis Etienne over Hopkins. And Adam says, Mason checking in to say, I'm sorry for the misleading Hopkins to the Chiefs reports last night. Yeah, Adam was out here in the live chat last night trying to sell us some false information of DeAndre Hopkins dropping emojis next to someone's name on Instagram, indicating that he's going to go over to the Kansas City Chiefs. You got my hopes up, my man. You got my hopes up. I definitely would have rather had Hopkins to KC, but Tua goes off the board here at 63. So the main thing that we're on the lookout for now is where does Treylon Burks go in this draft? JSN off the board, not going to overthink it. We need a wide receiver. We're going to take Hollywood Brown. So now running back, we have Bijan Robinson, Travis Etienne. Tight end, we have Mark Andrews. Wide receiver, we have Waddle, Hollywood, and Ayuk. Okay, so let's see where Burks is going. Let's see where Burks is going. Adam says, how does this affect Burks' dynasty stock? 100% he has to fall in dynasty leagues as well, right? I mean, this is a 2-year deal for Hopkins. You don't expect Hopkins in 2024 to be the same guy that he is this next season or the same guy that he's been over the past 5 years. But nonetheless, I mean, if you are looking at DeAndre Hopkins, he will be on the roster. And it's not like you're just going to get Treylon Burks with free reign to break out as the wide receiver 1 here. Now, still on the lookout. What's going to be interesting is if Burks falls to us at 80, do we have any interest? Do we have any interest? And then real quick, guys, if y'all have not done so already, make sure you go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We're about to hit 300 likes. There's nobody else that's live streaming every single day until 2024 for y'all with these underdog drafts. And of course, if y'all want to get in one of these drafts with us, which we're doing every single day, or if you want to go check out any of those player props like the free Patrick Mahomes one up until July 22nd, find that link in the live chat description or comment section. Underdog Fantasy, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, and our rankings. And Burks off the board here at 70. Telling you right now, Treylon Burks is not going to be going to pick 70 for that long. Treylon Burks is going to fall. Treylon Burks will be most likely going at the 7-8 turn in a couple weeks. Do not be taking Treylon Burks to pick 70 anymore. Please do not be doing this. Please do not be taking Treylon Burks at that price point. Okay, now let's wait to see where you have the tight end in Tennessee going off the board. Okay. Swing this back around. Yeah, you have Burks going ahead of Mike Evans and George Pickens here. Do not like that at all. Let's see, Paris on the clock. Pickens goes. I would have been excited to take George Pickens if you would have made it to us at pick 80. Montgomery off the board as well. Dylan says, what are you trading for Treylon Burks in Dynasty? You can't trade more than a second-round pick for Treylon Burks in Dynasty. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take DeAndre Swift as our running back 3 here. I've been really excited to have Lawrence make it to us. I'd have been really excited to have George Pickens or Mike Evans. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So just in case you are just coming in this live stream, you have Derrick Henry off the board here at 19. Derrick Henry used to go at the 2-3 turn. You have Mike Evans, George Pickens still going behind Burks. If Burks goes at 70, you have Hopkins jumping up to pick 42 here. Crazy, crazy. Okay, White, 85. James Conner, 86. And yes, I'm still going to do our other Underdog draft live streams tonight. We're not replacing it. Big day today, obviously. It's going to be nice is when we do those drafts in a couple hours as well. Everybody will be able to let this news digest and have a better overall idea of where we should be taking these guys. I'm sorry. I know we need to go wide receiver, but I just cannot take Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, or Zay Flowers over Isaiah Pacheco. We're going to have to go ahead. We are going to have to take Isaiah Pacheco here. Pick 89. Okay, let's move this down. And no, I do not have a favorite team. I'll say the teams that I'm going to be rooting on for most this next season will probably be the Atlanta Falcons because they have our guy Bijan Robinson, and the San Francisco 49ers if they decide to give Trey Lance the starting job. If Lance starts, what I'm rooting for more than anything else in the world is for the 49ers to go 17-0 and win the Super Bowl. That's my hope. Okay. Aaron asking if anybody else on YouTube gets these type of views live. There are people on YouTube that get 50,000, 100,000 live viewers, my friend. I mean, there are a lot of people on YouTube. A lot of people on YouTube. Okay. Zach says, what do I do if I have Treylon Burks? Okay. Hopefully you are close to a Walgreens. Hopefully you are close to a CVS, a grocery store, a Walmart, whatever it is, my friend. Looks like you have a Canadian little avatar, so I don't know what y'all got up north. But I would probably put your shoes on, go get in the car, go to whatever local convenience store that you have, buy a box of tissues, go back to your house, and cry. That's what I'd recommend. That's what I'd recommend, my friend. Okay. Zach Charbonnet off the board, 97. Bateman falling. I mean, Bateman's been falling a considerable amount. In the $1,000 underdog draft, we got Bateman, I believe, at pick like 101. Okay. Let's see. If we were to take another running back in this underdog draft, we're just done drafting RBs, right? It's not to say we can't take another RB, but... And also, if we were to take a tight end here, we're done drafting tight ends. We'd only draft one more running back, one more tight end. We're going to need 3 quarterbacks with this team, and we're going to need a ton of wide receiver help. Okay, Sutton goes 102. Evan Ingram off the board. I think we're actually going to take a tight end just because my favorite guy in this range is a tight end. I doubt that we get both either one of David Njoku or Pat Freiermuth making it back around to us. If I would have thought that we could have had Pat Freiermuth on the way back around, I probably would have passed on David Njoku in favor of a wide receiver here, but really like David Njoku at this price point, really like Freiermuth at this price point, and if we don't grab one here, I don't think we're going to get either. Yeah, Pat Freiermuth immediately goes after pick 105. Robert says, my 13% Burks is dead. Yeah, sadly, I've drafted 11% Treylon Burks, my friend. I did not realize I had that much Treylon Burks. I was initially excited. I thought I was underweight Treylon Burks. I thought I had been avoiding Treylon Burks. But clearly goes to show that I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I have no idea what the hell is going on. And that I've surprisingly taken a decent amount of them. Okay. You have Lazard off the board. Let's move this back around. Sky Moore goes. I'd have been excited about having Sky Moore make it back to us at 113, especially now that you don't have to worry about them signing Hopkins. And now that you don't have to worry about DeAndre Hopkins going over to New England, I think you can bump up Juju Smith-Schuster a bit. If you remember where Juju was going before the Hopkins rumors, Juju was actually going in the middle around 9. So now, I mean, I understand that we reach on him a bit here according to ADP, but in reality, I think Juju should see his ADP going back up to being next to guys like Tyler Boyd, going ahead of Allen Lazard. So yeah, I'm going to be fine taking Juju Smith-Schuster here at pick 113. Okay. Now Rashad Penny immediately after. Nick says he has a lot of the second-year tight end in Tennessee. I thought I had a lot of them. Let me pull it up. I think I had like 9% or maybe 8%, 7%. I was pretty much average. I have 7%, so I'm slightly below weight. But it seems like I take a lot of tight ends in that range. But it just looks like, I guess, I've taken more Greg Dulcich as well as Dalton Schultz. I drafted a lot of Schultz. I'm actually 15% Dalton Schultz and 14% Dalton Kincaid at this point. And hell, in general, I thought I was going to be avoiding Dalton Kincaid. He has fallen a considerable amount in drafts, though. Okay. Brian says, does Hopkins increase our exposure on Ryan Tannehill? 100%. And that's another thing that we need to discuss here is Ryan Tannehill in the majority of these draft tournaments has not been getting drafted, right? So going back to what we were talking about, like if you're looking at these tournaments on Underdog, Best Ball Mania, for example, $25 buy-in, $15 million prize pool. There have been 257,000 teams drafted so far this offseason. In the vast majority of these drafts, Ryan Tannehill has not been drafted. So now, in my mind, you would kind of be crazy to go ahead and take Mac Jones over Ryan Tannehill when Ryan Tannehill projects to be a better option with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, while at the same time, the field will be underweight Ryan Tannehill. So you can go ahead and you can have a very easy, unique build by just going through and taking Tannehill. I mean, similar thing in this puppy draft, right? There have been 58,000 entrants pretty much this week. It launched earlier this week out of the 100,000. Pretty much half the teams or half the field has not drafted Ryan Tannehill. So I would 100% advise in these tournaments to go out of your way and try to have a little bit of unique build. And it would be easy to do so by just taking Tannehill, right? Rex says 5% Burks here. Thoughts on my team at pick 4. Be happy to look at that in just 1 second, my friend. Let me see what we are going to be getting. Pick 128. Jackson says, what about Will Levis? I will be mixing in some Will Levis as just an absolute long shot dart throw. And I've said this before, but Will Levis gave us such a phenomenal interview at the NFL draft. Like, he was so freaking nice to us when he didn't have to be. I understand he falls. I understand that reports are saying he's not looking good in training camp. But just from a selfish perspective, I'm really rooting for Levis to do well. So he was just, like, he went out of his way and he did something really nice for us. And we were just some random Joe Schmo that he didn't have to. So I'm rooting for Levis. Like, I want to almost just get a Will Levis jersey, if that makes sense. Okay, so we have Goff, Rodgers, Russ all off the board here. We still need a quarterback, but we cannot take a tight ends. So the question at this point is, when is the year 2 tight end in Tennessee going off the board with the addition of Hopkins, right? That's the main thing. Dylan says you do have to be nice. That should be the norm. Yeah, everybody was nice to us in interviews, but I'm saying, like, he went out of his way over the top nice when he didn't have to. Like, there's a difference between being normal nice and going and, like, he threw us a big bone. Like, if y'all saw the interview, you know what we were talking about. Okay, we're going to take Mingo here for the same reason we took Juju Smith-Schuster. Jonathan Mingo has actually fallen a considerable amount in these drafts with the worry that you were actually going to have DeAndre Hopkins going over to the Carolina Panthers. And now that is not a concern, right? So now that's not a concern. I wouldn't be too surprised if Mingo actually goes back up these drafts. But we'll see. We'll see. James says, I hope everyone has a great day today. Just tapping in before going swimming. My man, I was actually, y'all know I'm training for the Ironman. So I was actually about to go swim laps right before this news broke. Thank God I hadn't left the house yet whenever this news broke. So, and let me see if Underdog still has that player prop up that we were looking at. They still have this Burks lineup, ladies and gentlemen. I would honestly be very interested in looking at the fewer than Treylon Burks, 825.5 receiving yards, and also the Christian Kirk versus Treylon Burks with the receiving touchdowns now that you have Hopkins coming over. We paired up the Treylon Burks fewer than 825.5 receiving yards with the special that they have live right now on Underdog. We paired that up with the free Patrick Mahomes bet. We put down 20 to win 60. So essentially 20 to win 60 on fewer than 825.5 receiving yards for Burks. I really like. Y'all know with those player props for the entire season, I'm only looking for the lower then. It's pretty much the only line we're looking at. Okay. Now we have Condre Miller off the board, Marquez Valdez-Scantling as well. You have the year 2 tight end in Tennessee still falling here. Let's see if you have Higbee, Komet, Gerald Everett going ahead of him. Really interesting. So we still need quarterback. Derek Carr not really in play. We don't have any Saints. I don't want to take Shaheed later on. We can't even take a tight end. Okay, you have the year 2 tight end in Tennessee going off the board by Rec. We forgot to look at Rec's team, but we will hopefully do that in a second. Okay, I know what we're going to do here if we're at pick 152. Robert says doing some ocean swimming later. Yeah, so my Ironman will be in the ocean. It'll be in the Mediterranean. And I swam in the lake yesterday, just went out to the lake with my girlfriend, and I realized, oh my gosh, swimming in a moving body of water is so much freaking harder than swimming in a lap pool. So I need to go ahead and do that soon. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to take DJ Chark here, 152. A big reason in why we're doing so is if you're looking at our team, we don't have a quarterback yet. We need to set ourselves up with a potential stack. We took Jonathan Mingo, 137. So we can set ourselves up with an easy double stack here with Bryce Young. So yeah, we're going to take Mingo, DJ Chark, and we'll figure it out. Okay. But Kyler off. We are going to make our selection here. And we need one more running back. Three more quarterbacks and one more wide receiver. Do we just take an unstacked Carr for the value? We're just going to take an unstacked Derek Carr. Who the hell cares? But let's check out Rec's team really quick. So this is the team at 4. Tyreek, Higgins, Pollard. Love that start with 3 guys. London getting a value there. I mean, Higgins, extreme value there. 52 stacking with Burrow. Love Pierce over Burks. Oh my gosh, you're the best team in this draft, my friend. Love that team at 4, my friend. They're definitely a better team than ours. I'll say that for damn sure. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and in this live stream here, I'll be live again in a couple hours doing more of these underdog drafts once we've allowed this news to really settle down and simmer. Of course, if you want to get in our next draft on Underdog, I'd say now is definitely the best time to do so. Whenever they have the puppy tournament live, it's the best spot if you are new to Underdog Fantasy to have some fun, to practice for your main fantasy football drafts this next year. It's best ball, so no time commitment at all during the year. I drafted 700 teams and won $150,000 last year. This tournament's a $5 buy-in, $500,000 prize pool. A member of the flock, Nick, won this tournament last year for $75,000. And also, it's the best time to get in because they have that free Patrick Mahomes line live for about the next week. And if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. You'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings with promo code FLOCK. You'll get a free trial to flockfantasy.com. You can find that link in the live chat description or comment section. And Underdog is available in all these states. But I think that's all I have for y'all. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Really, really do appreciate y'all and really hope that I get to see you with the live stream in a few hours.